Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're talking about 10 of the scariest films that are on Netflix right now, or the spookiest films, however you want to classify it.
Yeah.
But we thought we'd throw out some more horror recommendations right before Halloween, just to give you all some ideas of what to watch the day before or the day of Halloween.
Or, you know, people who like horror all year round.
Yeah,
that is
like
a
we
thing.
do. We usually watch horror all year round. But yeah, we're gonna do 5 apiece for scary recommendations. And I consider most of these to be horror. Some of them are kind of horror thriller, I guess. Some have some sci-fi elements. So
yeah,
you know, but ultimately, I consider all these to be horror films that we're getting ready to get into.
They're all
but
spooky.
Before we get into it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about all movies on this channel, and we do fun, entertaining live streams every Monday. And then
like this video.
Like the video, like she said, and then leave us a comment down below. What are some of the scariest movies that you've seen on Netflix? Maybe you could throw some recommendations our way. Okay, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
What's your first?
So these are in no particular order, but my first one is Till Death.
Okay.
So this came out in 2021, so it's been out for a few years now. But this stars Megan Fox, and basically it's about her being handcuffed to her dead husband.
Yeah.
So definitely gives me, you know, Geralds Game vibes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this one was really fun. You know, Megan Fox, you know, I feel like she's kind of like a mixed bag. Like, she does have some good performances, but she also has some not good performances, I guess.
feel like she does well in the horror genre.
Right, Jennifer's Body.
Yeah. That's actually a really fun movie.
Yeah. So anyway, this one was a lot of fun, and I remember liking it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was very suspenseful, and it kind of dealt with the aftermath of everything and her having to get out of there. And yeah, I remember there being a lot of suspenseful, tense moments. But speaking of Gerald's Game, that's the first one that I'm going to recommend.
Oh, that's funny.
It's Gerald's Game from 2017. And I haven't seen it since 2017, but this is one of Mike Flanagan's earlier films.
Yeah.
Who has now directed Doctor Sleep, getting ready to direct the Exorcist sequels, done tons of great Netflix horror shows. But he pretty much got his start with Gerald's Game back in 2017, which is also a Stephen King adaptation as well, which kind of follows a similar plot as Till Death. You know, the husband has a heart attack and dies on the bed while handcuffed to his wife, and she has to figure out how to get out of there after that. So it's pretty tense, pretty suspenseful.
These are different, though.
They are different. They are different because
it's not the same exact circumstances.
There's different things that happen to the ladies in this, but definitely the themes are similar for sure. But yeah, I like Gerald's Game a lot. I think it's a really good Stephen King adaptation, and I remember reading the book like back in the early 2000s, so I was kind of connected to it in that way as well. But
gotcha.
Yep, enjoyed that one.
Okay, moving right along, I have a current Netflix release. This one is called Don't Move, and we literally just watched this, I don't know, 2 days ago?
Yep.
2 days ago. So I'm not gonna lie, this one wasn't like great. I put it on my list because, you know, one, it's new. Two, it's also, you know, if you just want to like throw something on without like thinking too much, it's kind of one of those horror movies where you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are they making, you know, why is it working this, like, why is it going that way? Like, why are they making these decisions? It's kind of one of those movies, I feel like. Yeah. But overall, I do feel like it was, you know, it was okay, you know. Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
It's a fun little thriller. Like, if you don't think about it too hard, like the logic of certain things that happen, it's fun.
This one is about a woman again. There seems to be a theme with horror movies. A woman. Something's happening to a woman.
Women are big in the horror genre.
But this one is about a woman who happens to be out in the woods. You know, she's enjoying the nature, and she comes upon a man, and he basically gives her a paralyzing injection or whatever, and you know, without giving too much away, that is what most of the movie is about, what happens after. And so yeah, like you said, it is kind of a different, interesting situation. So
Yeah, and there are moments that are incredibly tense, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my, I don't even know how she's going to get out of this, but she
Yeah.
somehow manages to do so. So yeah, I enjoyed that movie. My next one is a movie called A Classic Horror Story, and we watched this back in 2021, and it's an Italian film.
Why do I not remember this?
People get in a car crash. They wake up in an abandoned house in a forest, and it's a really like unique house. Like if you saw the picture of the house, you would remember this movie. And all of a sudden, it turns into kind of like a home invasion film. Then it turns into a little bit of a cult horror film.
Okay.
It goes in a variety of directions, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And it's a movie that I enjoyed a lot when it came out, but I haven't thought of it since I was looking up scary spooky movies on Netflix to do this video, and I was like, oh, I remember liking that one quite a bit.
Right.
You did watch it. We watched it together, but it is,
well, don't let the fact that I can't remember it deter you from wanting to see it.
It was a good movie, and it does incorporate some supernatural elements in there as well. So I thought it was a very well done foreign horror film that I would recommend, A Classic Horror Story.
Okay.
So
all right, moving right along here, we have The Babysitter.
Okay.
So this one came out in 2017. It's got Samara Weaving in it. I feel like this was probably one of her like first performances, possibly.
Yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah, or maybe the first time that I've seen her in anything. So yeah, I just remember really liking this one. It's very fun. It's the typical hot babysitter, the young boy, kind of pines after his babysitter. And she's fun and, she's cool. Lets him, I don't know. Does she let him stay up late? I don't know. But, and it's probably one of those situations too, where he's like, I don't need a babysitter kind of thing.
Yeah. Then he sees her and he's like, oh, maybe I do.
Yeah. But then, it kind of takes a turn and something happens, that night when she's keeping the kid. And so, yeah, it was very fun. They did go on to make another one, which I didn't enjoy
the sequel wasn't as good.
well.
If I remember correctly, there was some cult, like ritualistic stuff happening in The Babysitter as well, which is a turn I didn't expect it to take, because when it first started, I was like, oh, this is extremely generic, like CW type crap. I mean, Bella Thorne was in the movie.
Was she in the first one?
She was in the first one. And then the movie takes a turn that I did not expect to happen, and then it was kind of like we were off to the races. So I enjoyed that movie quite a bit as well.
All right, what you
Babysitter. My number 3 is a movie that I watched. You did not watch in 2020. It's called The Platform.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about it.
And there's actually a sequel out right now, which people are not too high on. But back in 2020, it was like in the thick of the pandemic, and there was like nothing coming out. And this was one of the big movies that came out on Netflix that I remember watching. It's a very interesting film. If I remember correctly, it's basically like they capture these people and they're prisoner, and there's like different floors, and there's a big tray of food that starts at the top floor and works its way down to the bottom.
I remember you talking about it.
And so the people at the top get their pick first, and everybody's supposed to take their own like specific rations of the food, so people still have some at the bottom. It's basically a commentary on the selfishness of the rich and how they'll take all they can get and leave not a lot for the poor. It's an interesting movie. The characters have to really do some desperate, like gnarly things to survive as it goes further. But it was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Alrighty. Okay, let's see here. So my next one is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
2022.
This was, Netflix, I guess, remake of Texas Chainsaw.
No, it was a continuation.
It was?
It was kind of like, it was kind of as similar as Halloween 2018, because they brought back the original character from the first one.
Gotcha. So I remember, I don't feel like this movie got a ton of, I feel like a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like they talked like really down on it, negative about it. I enjoyed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like the remake. Yeah. Is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I don't know. 2003?
I can't remember
when did it come out?
I think the remake had the same name. Yeah, 2003.
2003, the one with Jessica Biel in it. But yeah, I'm still not like the biggest Texas Chainsaw fan or anything. But anyway, all of that to say, I just thought this one was a lot of fun. Even though I've only seen it once, there's still a lot of like imagery that's stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
There's like a scene on like a party bus, and there's like these lights everywhere, like strobing lights and stuff. Just very cool scene. And I just remember, you know, I don't know if it was a poster or if it did happen in the movie, but like him in a field of like, I think sunflowers or something.
Yeah.
Just a lot of like really cool like imagery.
I think the director, if I remember correctly, was like a cinematographer. So the movie, looked really good. Had a good visual look to it.
Yeah, and that could be like a big part of why I enjoyed it. But for me, I thought that it was good. Like, I mean, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like you can mess it up too bad. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I think some of the people that had problems with it were kind of misreading what they were doing, because the movie is kind of a little tongue-in-cheek and intentional with some of its goofy nature, I think, and its commentary on like kids today and stuff, and people on their cell phones, and they're like doing Insta stories of Leatherface as he's getting on the party bus. It's like all that stuff is meant to be like kind of tongue-in-cheek, you know?
Yeah, current trends.
Kind of a commentary on how stupid we are nowadays, I feel like.
Yeah. But I thought that was just like a good take on, if you're going to make the movie, like make it a little bit different.
And people have criticized like every Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie since the original, because it's not the original. People just hold the original up to like godlike status. But my next pick is a movie that I think we did watch together. It's called Cam. From 2018, and it was about a cam girl that like discovers that her identity's been taken over by another girl that looks exactly like her and is doing the same stuff under her name.
I don't remember that being.
And it's kind of like a doppelganger situation where she's like, I don't know where she came from, but that person is not me, and she has to like figure out like what is actually going on. So it's a fun little like mystery, I feel like, and it definitely has like a really good, like cool, like aesthetic to it, and definitely brings those horror vibes as well. So it was a smaller Netflix film that I feel like just came and went. Nobody really talks about it anymore. So I thought I would bring that up because I remember enjoying that one quite a bit.
You know, that is kind of the interesting thing about Netflix movies. Like, knock Netflix all you want, but like they do put out good stuff.
They do.
But because
sometimes it's not always the most mainstream stuff they promote.
Well, the problem is, though, I think, is that they put out so much stuff that it's just so easily forgotten about. And it's not that it wasn't good. It just, I don't know. It's like nowadays we're just put so much content is put in our face. And so, unfortunately, I feel like things do get a very short run.
Yeah.
You know, but okay, my last one here is going to be another recent one. And this one is called Woman of the Hour. Okay. And this one is, well, it was, I don't know if it was written and directed and acted by.
It was at least directed by Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick. You know, I'm not like the biggest fan of her necessarily. Unfortunately, when I hear her voice, I just think of Poppy from Trolls. She's
come a long way since Poppy.
Well, she just has a very particular voice, you know. Even her like face is kind of particular too. Kind of like, you know, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
They just kind of have like a look about them a little bit. But anyway, all of that to say, I did enjoy this one quite a bit. I thought that it was interesting. You know, it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
And it's set back in the 70s when there was a serial killer on the loose and they, you know, didn't know who he was. And it just so happens that the serial killer gets to go on a game show, you know, unbeknownst to the producers of the show. There were some like good high moments of suspense.
Oh, the scene in the parking lot was very well done.
The parking lot one, and like you can't even like resonate with that moment. You're not.
But I did. So the scene did a good job of like, even though I'm a man, like I still resonated with the moment. So it was a really great scene.
It was very like just relatable. So
the whole scene from like just them in the restaurant to the parking lot, like all that was great. The way it was done.
Yeah, very suspenseful movie. So, yeah, that's going to be my last one.
All right, so my last one is a series of 3 movies, the Fear Street movies, that came out back in 2021. And 1978 was my favorite, but I kind of enjoyed just that, even though I didn't love all the movies, I kind of just enjoyed kind of watching those because they came out every Friday. And it was kind of something to look forward to. It was just a fun, you know, experience, I think. I like the first one for its like 90s. Aesthetic, and the second one was my favorite, 1978, because it had that camp slasher vibe. And then the last one was a little bit of a mess, but it kind of brought the story together. So I like that series of movies. I definitely think they're worth checking out. And they're definitely kind of a throwback to some like old school horror movies from back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that we used to get. So
all right, that's it.
That is our video, the Scariest films on Netflix. But we appreciate y'all watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on bell notifications for all of our future videos, and leave us a comment down below if you will, if you would be so kind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.